Hello, SYNGAP My name is Michael Graglia, and this is episode 176 of the Cure SYNGAP 1 podcast. Today, I'm going to talk about one thing and one thing only, why you should consider the Relutrigine study from Praxis for DEEs with motor seizures. I want to be clear at the top, my audience here is always first SYNGAP families, but anyone who has a child with seizures, motor seizures, from a developmental and epileptic encephalopathy, or DEE, and that just means a genetic disease that causes seizures, by the way. This applies to you. This is worth listening to because all I'm going to talk about is this drug and this study. And guess what? If you have a DEE with motor seizures, like SYNGAP1, you could take part. Now, if you're like, what is a DEE? I don't understand. I talked about this in episode 133. Go listen to that for your edification. I'm not going to talk about it now. The punchline from today is if your child has 4 countable motor seizures a month, if you can see them moving their body, head drops, convulsions, status, whatever, 4 times a month, you qualify for this seizure. And you should go right now to resilientstudies.com/emerald. Link is in the show notes. And click see if I qualify. Fill out the screener. They forward it to a doctor. Doctor calls you. Let the doctor figure it out. Don't spend time thinking about, wait, am I, should I don't know. Just click the link, fill out your information. They'll get you on the phone with the doctor. Doctor will help you figure it out. But I really think if you have a DEE patient with 4 more motor seizures a month, you should check this out. What if you have questions? What about this? What about this? What about this? There's a webinar tomorrow. SRF is hosting it with the team from the company who's doing this. And it's at 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern. So if you're in the U.S. and you can make it at 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern, make it to that call tomorrow. They will present all their stuff. They're going to be a lot more interesting than me. And they're going to be able to answer your questions live. Because it's recruiting for a study, they don't want it recorded. There's so many rules around these studies. It's bonkers. So it is a live study. And one of the reasons I'm pushing this podcast out today is to urge you to come to that webinar live because it will not be recorded. Let me just throw out some fun facts. I want to make sure you hear this from me, and then you can hear it again from them and check my facts. This is for any DEE patient with 4 motor seizures a month, at least. I already said that. The age range is from 2, none of our kids start seizing before 2, so that's great, to 65. Freaking amazing, right? So all the adult patients out there, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 60s. Well, I'm afraid Karen's too old for this one, but qualify for this if they are still struggling with motor seizures. I talked to at least one mom who's definitely got an adult with a lot of motor seizures. I think he'd be a great candidate. The study is 24 weeks long. That is 6 months. It is placebo controlled, but everyone in the trial will get drug at some point. What that means probably is that half will start on placebo, half will start on drug, and then the placebos will get drug. I don't know. Ask them. That's just my guess. But it states on their website that it's 24 weeks long and everyone gets drug at some point in the trial. Better news, once the trial is done, if you want, there is an open label extension for another 7 months. So if the drug works while they're dealing with regulatory approvals and all that madness, you can stay on drug for an additional 7 months. And if you're seeing incredible benefit, they say that there's a chance for expanded access. And what that means is basically getting access to the drug already. It doesn't matter. The point is, if you get on this trial and the drug helps your kid, you can stay on the drug for the foreseeable future, which is pretty exciting. Here's the thing I'm most excited about with this trial, aside from the adult thing. The adult thing is super cool. And the open to all DEEs, like SLC6A1, SYNGAP1, SCXBP1, all the SCM whatevers, all these CTNNB1, USP7. I'm just thinking of my friends. KCNT1. Everybody who's got seizures can do this. Pretty exciting. KCNQ2. This study is fully decentralized. What does that mean? It means that you don't have to set foot in a clinic. They will come to your house. The way it works is the PI, the principal investigator, will be telehealth and they'll be talking to you. They've got the big picture, but they will pay for a doctor and a nurse to come to your house. The doctor will do doctor stuff and do assessments, and the nurse will draw the blood and help, right? And then they will come to your house every, month or so. I'm making this up. And you never have to go anywhere. And I think this betrays lessons learned by this company around how hard it is to deal with our kids sometimes. And somebody just said, well, why? Why are we making them come to a clinic in the first place? And that has really earned my respect. And I want to see this trial succeed because I think this model should be the rule, not the exception, right? So far, there is one site open in Bethesda. These opening sites, I'm learning, takes forever. And so there'll be other sites. But with this decentralized business, it doesn't matter. They can telehealth you from Bethesda, and they can get a doctor and a nurse to come and see you live. Apparently, there are international sites planned for the future for 2026, but the U.S. is enrolling now, people. So if you're stateside, you could enroll in this, and I think it's pretty exciting. Why do I think it's exciting? Okay, there's lots of links at the bottom of the show notes. There's a link to more links. Lots of science, big words, really exciting. I'm not going to regurgitate words I barely understand. I'm just going to tell you some cold, hard facts that I heard from the company. First of all, this is a liquid. No more tablets to swallow. This can go in the mouth. This can go in the G-tube. Pretty cool. I'm talking about the drug. Number two, there's no ramp up. You put this drug in, it works. Take the drug out, it stops working. Right? Small molecule. We're not talking about ASOs. Many of us have been on Relutrigine. Relutrigine is one of these drugs with really slow ramp up, and you start giving it in like June, and you figure out if it's working by the end of July. I don't like that drug. But this drug, you give it on Monday, and you know if it hit on Tuesday, right? So I like that. There's no ramp up. It's much more. It's not really as fast as lorazepam, but like on the spectrum of lorazepam to Relutrigine, it's like right here. So I like that a lot. It is potent and specific. Now I'm getting into technical terms, but potent we all understand. Specific means it goes right to what it needs to go to. And in the real life implication of potent and specific is that you don't need to drink a jug of this stuff. There are certain drugs that will remain nameless. Some of our patients are on, and they're like, parents are bringing it home in suitcases. Suitcases. I'm not making this up. Relutrigine, you're talking about, and check my math on this tomorrow, but from what I understood, it's like a milliliter, it's tiny, per 10 kgs, right? 10 kgs is 22 pounds. Your kid weighs 100 pounds, that's 5 milliliters. I mean, if you've looked at what you give your syngapian in a day, and I've seen a lot of pictures of a lot of counters full of drugs and syringes, ml per 10 kg is nothing for a rare disease parent. So I think that's a pretty exciting feature of this drug. And then this question will come up as you start looking at it. This is a sodium, this is selective for a hyperactive sodium channel. And what everyone's going to say is, oh wait, sodium channel, that means SCM1A, SCN2A, SCN8A. You always wonder what happened to 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, but whatever. Those are the big three SCNs, 1, 2, and 8. And the point here is, people hear that and they're like, oh, it's just for those. But that's not true. The truth is when the brain seizes, apparently, now I'm just parroting stuff I've been told. I don't know if this is really true. I don't know. It's not like I study this. But when there's activity that leads to a seizure, one of the last steps in that chain is a hyperactive sodium channel, regardless of if you're whatever gene you are, right? And it's that hyperactive sodium channel that gets hyperactive right before we seize. So this drug selectively, meaning only, goes after those hyperactive sodium channels that are about to allow a seizure to happen and says, stop that, sit down. And can you tell I've been hanging out with my 7-year-old? And so this drug, even though it acts on hyperactive sodium channels, should benefit everybody with a seizing brain or a DEE. So that's pretty exciting. So that's mechanism of action. I didn't share that with you because I want you to think about it. I shared that with you because some people get derailed when they see sodium channel. Don't let that happen to you. I want to talk briefly about Praxis because everyone's like, who is this study? Who's behind this? Praxis is a company SRF knows pretty darn well. I'm going to say nice things about them right now. They're serious people. They work hard on epilepsy. They like to say they've got the biggest epilepsy pipeline. I'm sure it's true if they just keep saying it. They are very connected to SYNGAP1 and DEEs. My only polite, respectful criticism for them is, guys, please hurry up and get your ASO out the door. I know they're working on a SYNGAP1 ASO, and I've been asking them to just bring it to the market soon. But that's the only thing I'm going to say that's not positive. Their CSO is Steve Petru. He knows what SYNGAP is. The Australian SYNGAP community is all over Steve. He knows that they know where he lives, and he knows that we are waiting. So Steve's a great guy, and he's a serious scientist, and so he knows how to spell SYNGAP1. Praxis is led by a very serious and fast-moving individual named Marcio Souza, Brazilian, great guy. And at some point, Praxis merged with, absorbed, whatever, a company called Rajcon, which was founded by, if I've got this right, Alex Nimirov and Kelly Dalby. Alex and Kelly are people I met very early on. And they, to their credit, decided to start a company, not a foundation. And they started work on SCN2A. They actually contracted work from Steve, and then Praxis got involved with Steve and just absorbed the whole thing. Kelly and Alex, who were parents just like us, are still at Praxis in leadership positions. So this isn't some like nameless, faceless drug company far away that's working on us because we scored well on a whiteboard, right? This is Marcio, Steve, Kelly, and Alex who get it, who know what Syngapians look like, who understand what DEEs are, and are working like hell to make better medicines. And I really appreciate that about them. I think they're cool people. Like I said, the only thing I wish they would do differently is hurry up and get that damn SYNGAP ASO out the door. But they are working, I should point out, or as should be obvious from this talk, on both small molecules, which Relutrigine is, and ASOs. And I won't tell you about all the ASO work they've done, but SYNGAP is definitely on their pipeline, on their website. And so one of the reasons I want Syngapians to do this trial is I want us to benefit from this drug because it looks like a promising drug, and we want to know if it works on Syngapians. And I want Praxis to see how SYNGAP families show up and jump into trials. So that's my brief pitch on the trial, on the drug, and on Praxis. There's some links in here. They just got breakthrough designation for 2A and 8A from the FDA like 2 weeks ago. There's an article about the MBOLD study. MBOLD came before this study. It's just a lot of exciting data. There's a cool link about a poster that came out at AES, and this was a kid. I think they had one of the A's, and they were seizing like crazy, seizing like crazy. They got this drug back in 2024. And seizures went down, seizures and status epilepticus went down radically. It was pretty exciting. So that link's in the show notes. That's the first time I heard about Relutrigine. I've been following Relutrigine ever since. It's over almost 2 years now. And finally, through this Emerald study, which is visionary on, I think, visionary might be a little strong. Cutting edge is not, though. This study is cutting edge in that it is fully decentralized and it is open to all DEEs. In the old days, it wasn't decentralized. You had to schlep into a lab, and it was for Dravet, and good luck if you don't have Dravet, we'll get to you later. So I think the fact that they're opening this up to all DEEs and they're doing it fully decentralized is just really exciting. And someone's going to ask me, Mike, you were really positive on this. Why'd you do this? Are you getting paid for this? I'm not getting paid for this. Right? I as you know, from watching the previous 175 episodes of this podcast, I am neck deep in this space. And when I see something I get excited about, I'm not afraid to say so. But let me answer the question, why am I doing this? One, we need better meds, and the way to get better meds is to go through trials. We have to start getting used to jumping into trials, checking stuff out. So we have to jump at every trial, every time. That's point number 2. Mike, hey Mike, look at this trial. Should I do it? My default answer is yes. We should look. We should go through the screener. We should talk to the doctors. We should talk to our doctors, all the things. But yes, if there's a trial, if people have spent the millions of dollars it takes to get this far, that's probably a drug that we should be looking at. This one is decentralized. I already told you how exciting that is. I want to go back to the timing point because this is super interesting. We're in July. If you screened tomorrow and got enrolled and started dosing in August, September, October, November, December, January, you'd be done with the 6 months by January. I am hopeful that early or mid next year, as I've said before, Camp 4 might start recruiting for their ASO trial. Oh. So if you're thinking, wow, my kid has a lot of motor seizures, but I don't want to get excluded from the ASO trial, so I'm not going to do this trial, check your date math because there's time. There's time to do this one now, get through the 6 months, and then hopefully you're benefiting from the drug. You stay on the OLE. When the ASO trial rolls out, you just wash out of this drug. You just stop taking it, wash out. Your seizure is going to come back. But then you can do the ASO trial conceptually, right? The timing is good for us, guys. So if your child is seizing 4 or more motor seizures a month, get on it. And then the other point I'm just going to make is our syngapians with motor seizures are not the majority of our community, but they are some of our most severe cases. And I want to make sure that everybody hears about this trial and that they consider it. So if you know another Syngap parent whose kid's having motor seizures, please encourage them to consider this. And I want to say a second thing there. Unfortunately, what we see is that as our patients age, seizure frequency, severity, and variety, meaning the different kinds of seizures, increase, right? And we're funding work with Dr. Juliette Knowles, who's just exceptional, as part of the Stanford team, looking at why it is that Syngapian seizures progress. And I'm not gonna hit you with that right now, but it's a thing, right? Just because a Syngapian has mild seizures at 5 does not guarantee they're not gonna be dropping like crazy at 20. So all of us have an interest in understanding if Relutrigine effectively addresses Syngap1 seizures, all of us. And so please share this video with other Syngap families. Encourage them to come to the webinar tomorrow. If they miss the webinar, just go and screen and check out this trial. If you have questions, of course, call info@curesyngap1.org. We will answer your questions, but it's better to ask the company, and it's better to see if this drug could help your loved one. The link for the trial is the last link in the show notes, resiliencestudies.com/emerald. Please check it out. Thanks for listening.